first of all, a huge congratulations on
Thank you.
Bob Biswas, and it's wonderful to be in conversation with you again on Filme Shilmy. I think beginning with the fact that Bob is an extremely chilling villain, and I think arguably someone who has such a sinister presence even now when we see. So, how emotionally and mentally taxing was it for you to sort of mold yourself into playing the contract killer?
Well, Anuj, the approach was actually very contrary to all this. So we knew what he did, how he did it.
Right.
But the one characteristic of his which I really wanted to hold on to was that he's actually essentially and at heart a very nice guy. He's a very sweet chap. He's a very loving family man. And I
Right.
wanted to try and bring that layer into it for two reasons. One, that's the character, the way it's written in this context. Secondly, as a performance, it at the right moment adds a certain amount of chill that you have. Somebody, like I said, I've always said, I think we would have achieved something if Bob is sitting next to you on the train. Firstly, you wouldn't recognize him. Secondly, you'd never guess that he does what he does. And that's what I was going for. And that coupled with a pleasant countenance, I think just gives him that much more of an edge.
Sure. I mean, if Bob was on the train with me or if he was on the station with me, I'd definitely be standing away from the platform so he doesn't push me off like how he did with Vidya and Kahani.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
one thing
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure that I would avoid. But yes, I think it is true. It's just sort of present that relatable and real characters because as they say, no one's ever born a villain, right? Like they are made because of the circumstances. Now, I had read up in a couple of interviews, and I think on a chat show as well that you mentioned that you had to put on weight for the role. And often when I speak with actors about preparing for characters, they usually describe it to be quite a lonely experience, because it is basically all about them and their introspection and getting into that frame of mind and physically and mentally. So was it a lonely experience for you as well? What kept you going throughout the prep process?
Well, to put on weight is not lonely at all because you just need to go out there and eat a lot, and preferably with friends.
Right.
Um, so no, like I said, the usual tropes that we use to characterize a contract killer were ones that we literally threw out of the window.
Yeah.
He's overweight, he's portly, he's got a waddle, he's cherubic, he's loving, he's smiling, he's pleasant, and he's well mannered.
Yeah.
None of these adjectives, so to speak, will be associated with a contract killer.
Mm. Yeah.
That made him fun. So, like I said, the underlying theme that I wanted to do in the performance was to keep it very pleasant and sweet. So I didn't want to get into the darkness of what was going to happen or perceivedly what could happen. So as a performance, it made it that much more simpler. It's just that the outcome, because of the circumstances he's in and the environment he's in, that made him stand out. So actually, it was a very pleasant experience.
Wow, this is interesting. That is interesting. Okay, so I'm very curious to know if I was having a conversation with Bob right now, and if I asked him something, how would he respond back to me? Just about anything. Just imagine if I'm having a conversation, how would he react back? What would be your way of reacting
Probably
back?
with a smile and a very pleasant face.
Oh my God. Abhishek, I love your smile. Please don't give me Bob's smile, please, because that would
No,
probably be the last smile I
he's like
see.
that. He's very like, oh, wow, he's full of wonderment. Oh, okay, I see. All right. He's a bit confused. I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, okay. Namaskar.
Absolutely. Oh God. And that part, oh God, yeah, I can't deal with that. But yeah, I think it's also wonderful actually, Abhishek, because I remember when we spoke earlier this year as well, we were talking about how it's great that we're now seeing grey characters emerge,
Yes.
unsanitized, very, I guess, problematic, characters as well coming to light as well. What significance does this phase of characters mean to you as an actor? Do you kind of feel like, you've in a way found a niche for yourself as well as an actor because of the fact that there are so many?
Oh, I hope I never find a niche. I really hope I never find a niche or an image. I enjoy doing diametrically opposite characters, one from to the other. I mean, Bob and the Big Bull. I mean, and just before that, Ludo. Before that, Breathe. Before that, Manmarzia. My next one is going to be a movie called Dasmi.
That's me.
Yeah. So they're all so different, and I enjoy that. that you get to do something that you possibly haven't done before, and you get to push the envelope a bit.
Yeah. And I guess you must feel a sense of liberation, though, right? When you are playing such characters, which even though have a very realistic coating, but are in essence quite dark.
No, I don't think liberated is what I'd go for. It's a huge challenge. It's a huge responsibility. So it's a tight rope that you need to walk. So it's not like, oh, I'm getting to play a great character, so let me just kick back and relax. No, I think you have to make sure those characters are that well written to be able to justify why they do what they do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think also thanks to the emergence of OTT platforms like ZEE5, there has been an influx of talent, not just in acting, but I think also in writing and directing too. So have you ever been tempted in exploring your talents behind the camera as well in these recent times?
No, I've never been tempted. No, it's daunting actually. I'm not somebody who's, I'm one of those who believes in never say never. But getting behind the camera is something which I just don't know enough about right now. And nor do I creatively feel that I want to go out there. Like I don't have something which I feel I really want to say and nobody's allowing me to express that. So maybe I should direct my own film or whatever. I'm very happy with the kind of what I'm saying in my work right now and the way I'm expressing myself. So I don't feel that need to, take it to the next level.
And it's interesting as well because you've always said that you choose films which you'd want to see as an audience member. I remember you said that as well in that intro, and you even said that you're a really hardcore Manmohan Desai fan as well.
Yes.
I remember you mentioned that. So I guess that will always be something on your mind, right? If you ever decide to take the plunge and actually call the shots behind the camera.
I really don't know. I've seen so many directors across the world. I've seen so many actors who've directed films. And maybe there is a certain marriage of sensibilities. So I get it. It's nothing that's out of the norm. But for me right now, I just don't feel that creative urge to go out there and make a movie and say something which I'm not already doing in my work as an actor.
Yeah, fair enough. But I think it's wonderful because Bob Biswas unites visionaries like Shah Rukh Khan, Sujoy Ghosh, and of course ZEE5 to produce and exhibit the film. And obviously, because cinema is finally back and cinemas are finally open again. But would you say that having, I guess, a solid financial backing now for films and content nowadays, would you say it's more important than ever, especially because of how unpredictable life has become due to the pandemic?
Well, I think that's way too complicated. As long as the audience gets to see the film, I think we should be happy. I think it's a matter of what kind of content is available where.
Yeah.
I think as far as cinemas are concerned, nothing is ever going to replace the experience of going to the movies and watching a movie in the theater. I think the experience of watching something on an OTT platform is very different. It's far more personal. It's far more private. It's far more intimate. The best way I could, give you an example is I think going to the movies is an experience of watching a movie. And watching it on a digital streaming is literally, you're not there for the experience of it, you're there for the content.
Yeah.
And I think that's the broad strokes differentiation that you're going to have between the two mediums. They're both here to stay. Nobody's here to replace anyone. I think this new medium has given rise and birth to so many great new content creators and writers especially. And they have now the freedom to really dream big, dream wide. And that's why you see the kind of interesting content that's coming out.
And I think on a final note as well, because Bob Biswas is a very highly awaited film. I mean, I've been waiting it since I heard that you were coming on board and since the announcement was made. And since I watched Kahani, actually, to be very honest as well, actually. So what would you like to tell audiences about Bob Biswas in terms of what are you expecting from the film, especially be it on a personal front or a professional front? What are you expecting from it?
Well, I think it's a very interesting film. And I think Dia has told it very interesting. It has a very interesting cinematic language. So I'm looking for it's personally, I just think it's a really cool film. I really think it's something that people are going to find it's a very cool film. It's very cool storytelling. It's very different. And so, yeah, I've never been one who's been able to classify my films and why people should watch it. But I genuinely think it's a cool film.
Wonderful. Yes. Well, I'm looking forward to, because you've quite literally given your blood and sweat into this
Yes.
film. So
Yes.
I'm looking forward to seeing the face side to Abhishek Bachchan, which is something where I think we still yet to see. So we're looking very much forward to that, Abhishek. Always a pleasure to have you on Filme Shilmy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care. Enjoy the film and stay safe.
Definitely you too. Bye, Abhishek.
All the best.
Bye.
Bye.